Excuse me. Just ate. Anyway, I want to make this quick video, and I am going to try to make this quick. And due to YouTube with the flagging of my other channel, and I had to turtle the channel, I came up with the other channel, or the B channel, whatever you want to call it, same name, just written differently or spelled out. I might change it back to the other name, the Sarge WP or whatever. But I had Kevin Samuel and Dr. T. Hassan Johnson's, they did a collabo video together playing in the background. And I would appreciate if whoever, whatever various channels, would take this video and send it to either one. I know they know who I am, but I'm saying you can send it to either one. But I want to say this because, and I'm only like, I don't know, maybe 2/3 of the way through the video, and I had to stop it, okay, because they're missing something. They're missing a key feature that Captain Solo and myself, we've already gone over this ad nauseum, and they're like skipping right over it. Okay, so Kev, he came out with this video in large part because people are, attacking him, saying he's gay and all this other stuff, because his popularity is where it is. And I think Dr. T. Hassan Johnson appropriately identified why people are attacking Kevin Samuels, because, he's over 100,000 subscribers, literally overnight, faster than pretty much anybody who we've seen who've been in the, black manosphere or woke sector of YouTube, since we've been on here. Okay. But so he identified the jealousy. But they are having a conversation about, high value men, and what high value black men do is considered gay, and connecting it to, everything that Kevin is doing and the cologne and all this other stuff, is labeled as gay. And yeah, on the superficial level, yeah, when you get into that metrosexual realm, people are going to consider that gay. Okay. The black community is ruled by hyper masculinity. This is what happened with the whole, gangster rap and all that stuff that went on, all the stuff with the streets and, thugs and all that stuff that we saw in the 90s. Okay. And is basically never stopped ever since. But the key thing that's being mixed here, and this is where high value black men get it wrong. And I'm telling y'all, this is where, it's just like the understanding how communities work just falls off of a cliff. Okay. Kevin Samuels can come on the internet and talk about high value men all day. Okay. He's brought up vertical structures. I'm not saying that he's not completely, unaware of this, but listening to what he's saying, I'm like, okay, dude, you're missing it. Okay. Dr. T. Hassan Johnson brought up the point that, example, when we're talking about protection or protecting a family or protecting a household or community or the woman that you're with, right? Men of means can simply move and relocate. Right. And so a form of protection is saying, I'm going to take my family, my wife, my children out of this environment, and I'm going to go to a safer environment. Right. That's a form of protection. It's not seen as, this as direct or the same way as, let's say, a black man going out there in the streets. And this is where there's this big miscommunication or void. The majority of the community does not live in suburbia. The majority of the community is a community that has a culture that's based on prolonged exposure to poverty. And in an environment that lacks resources and has this whole situation of prolonged exposure to poverty, right? A lot of problems are dealt with through violence. Okay. And the issue is, it's like this. First things first, when white men move from one community to another community, 10 times out of 10, they're moving to a white community, a predominantly white community. They control the economic landscape in that white suburb. When black men move out and they're trying to, get out of Baltimore or get out of North Philly and go to a safer environment, they also go to a white community. So right off top, you're gonna get hit with the bitch ass label, right? Because you not only do you not stand and fight racism and white supremacy, but you don't stand and fight, the troublemakers that are in where the majority of black people reside, right? This is why ELs and educated lames, all that. That's why they don't get respect. They don't control the economic landscape. When they see problems or trouble in the predominantly black community, they leave. And they don't organize to empower themselves, not just for their individual success, but for the betterment of the community. They're not putting anybody on. And I'd say most importantly, they don't control any muscle. As we all know, law enforcement, you could look at the white people in Manhattan or the Jewish people in Manhattan, right? Law enforcement arguably are their personal bodyguards, right? Because they control the wealth and the resources of Manhattan. People have argued that the NYPD is the most corrupt police department next to the LAPD, in America. And, they only care about Manhattanites and what's going on with Manhattanites. So in other words, what am I saying? What I'm saying is that the high value men of other communities pay half the poor to kill the other half. Translation, the high value men of other communities always have hired guns and hired muscle. Now, I know probably Kevin Samuels is going to jump up. Oh, what are you talking about? We in the streets. Oh, I know some goons and this, that, and the third. No, nigga, no. Okay? This is not known information. People cannot point to it and identify it. Nobody got caught slipping and went to jail who was on some clean cut, shit. And then you discover because they got, investigated by the feds that they, were out here and they're connected to some murder or some homicide or something like that. You don't hear stuff like that. But you can hear stuff like that, in the white community. Where again, even with the, the members of the Italian mob, they imitated legitimate businessmen, and kept low key unless they had, personal beef. But, at the end of the day, whether they were legitimate, high value, whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean? You could get your ass fucked up. But in the black community, nobody sees ELs, high value men, which is, obviously you get, you have guys that are ELs and don't have any money. And then you have the high value men who are, descendant of ELs, I guess, or of the EL group, but they're just the ones that are actually monetarily successful. Because you got guys out here that go, oh, I got degrees, I'm educated and everything, ain't got no money. But even in discussing just the best of black men, ain't got no muscle. Again, it's one thing to say, okay, we're not going to get our hands dirty. But it's another thing to say we're not going to get our hands dirty and we're not going to hire people to get their hands dirty for us to handle some of the problems that we do recognize in the community. This is why high value black men get slapped with the gay label, in my opinion, and part of it. And why they don't get the respect. Thugtician said it over a decade ago when he originally came online. He said that the part of the problem is that the most identifiable group of men in the community that are associated with a black male power structure are the street thugs. That cannot be overlooked. High value men in the black community are not associated with, in a visible manner, a black male power structure or hierarchy. It's the same argument I had with all that with the video that I did on my other channel that I had to turtle for a while about the brothers that are the HBCUs and the Qs and the Kappas and the Alphas and all these black fraternities that like to stand there with the chest out and talk about, how they the biggest and they the baddest. But in real talk, after us, GDIs, goddamn individuals, graduate from college, we don't hear about them niggas. We don't hear about nothing that they're doing. Nothing that they're doing. Once you graduate college, you don't see no candy canes. You don't see no orange and gold. Okay. You don't see no hats with the feathers. You don't see none of that. You don't hear about what none of these dudes are doing. And yet in school, these dudes, we the original, what is it? The original 9 or something like that. Or, we come from the 1900s. And again, no power, not making moves, not creating economic opportunities for the community. Nobody is scared of them. Sorry, nobody is scared of a bunch of Qs or a bunch of Kappas running up in your crib. Nobody's scared of that. They'll be scared of some Bloods, some Crips, some what do you call them? The Vice Lords and stuff like that. All these other type of black gangs. Okay, people scared of them. Okay, people see and they hear about the Ray Rays and the Pookies and the drug dealers and the gangbangers and the criminals and the gang affiliated and the sets shooting each other up in the street. Okay, nowhere are high value men getting down like that. It's sooner or later. It's just like what I said about the brother down there in the what was it? I want to say it was the Seaside Lounge down there in Houston. Where he, the brother went up and he was an engineer and he went to defend a black woman that he was with. And there was like 7 street dudes that were sitting at the table. Okay. And the brother went up and, was like, "Are you okay?" Well, the street dudes took offense to that. And then there was a fight, hit him with the bottle. You know how the bouncers do. They go, they split everybody up, all that stuff. Everybody goes outside, all that stuff. Well, they pulled up alongside of his car and got the dumping and murdered the brother. Okay, no response. I haven't heard anything about the case. I haven't heard about any arrest. I haven't heard about any high value men in the community making a couple of phone calls and making sure that gets it. Because I'm saying, whether you want to say the brother was high value or whether you want to say the brother is, not street or whatever, I'm saying, when it comes to high value men who talk about, well, we don't operate in violence and shit, I'm saying he's in your category. Him getting killed is a stain on all EL's names. And I know black men, black educated professional men that want to claim that they're high value and all that other stuff and how that stretches all the way up into the stratosphere of well beyond 6 figures and whatnot. I'm saying unfortunately, that's our reputation. Okay. Nobody is worried about if they walk up on Kevin Samuels, that Kevin Samuels is going to pull out, his, XDM 3.8 Elite. Okay. Nobody's thinking to themselves, Kevin, don't fuck with Kevin because he's going to pull out. Now, the only reason people even think that about me is because I talk about guns all the time. I'm very adamant about the Second Amendment. Okay. And, I do have, anger issues, when it comes to that, type of shit of, educated, professional, well-to-do black men having the reputation of being complete bitch asses. Okay. And I got to check myself on that. But, when these, I'm saying this, so that people understand, so that y'all don't continue to have this sort of clueless conversation and, we don't know why, why are we considered gay? And because at the end of the day, people know that you ain't putting in that type of work, period. Again, the white community, everybody looks at the white community like it's all perfect and wonderful. And, it's just it. The white community has to be maintained like that. The white community has an enforcement arm. All them white people that you see living in them big ass $500,000 homes in the suburbs, okay, they hire their law enforcement officers to handle business. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying black ELs or black high value men, whatever you want to call them, okay? They're not even mobilizing to make sure that there is a black police department wherever they reside, because they go over to the white suburbs and they use the white police and think that they're going to be safe with the white police because they got some money to rub together. They don't establish a black police department that biasly caters to the needs of the black elites. Maybe you'll find that in Atlanta. I'm not from Atlanta. I'm sure some people can say, hey, that's how shit goes down in Atlanta. But in the rest of the country, in the rest of the United States, okay, high value black men at the collective level don't have that type of clout. They don't have that type of reputation. Now, I don't want to hear the whole, the exceptions, and the exceptions do not swallow the rule. At the end of the day, high value black men, educated black men, professional black men, the goody two shoes niggas, okay, do not have that type of reputation. Whether it comes down to how they personally get down or whether they put people in place to get down for them, they don't have that type of reputation. So that bitch ass card, which is going to be followed up with the gay ass card, that's going to be thrown. Because you're dealing with a community that the majority of which operates on the premise of hyper-masculinity. And we all know why hyper-masculinity exists, not just because of how it was promoted in the media and, Wesley Snipes stabbing Christopher Williams in the hand and all that other stuff, but due to, black men's ability to assert themselves as men being torn down. And so there is this over, the top masculinity, that is, actively promoted in the community, that to really, to strike fear in the hearts of, other people. And, unfortunately, we even use that, on each other. But, I just had to share my thoughts on this. If you disagree, you disagree. I'm not saying that I may be 100% accurate about this. This is the way I feel about it. And this is the way that Captain Solo and myself over the course of years, we've gone back and forth. This is not something that just some conclusion that we drew overnight. This is a theory. And this is how we see it. This is how we view it. Okay. So with the whole idea of, we're protecting because, we moved to a nicer neighborhood. Typically, black men moving to a nice neighborhood means that you're moving to a white neighborhood. And that's not going to garner, any level of respect. There's no place where high value black men are visibly seen controlling the economic landscape and the political landscape from top down. And then if, Pookie comes through and does some stupid shit, thinking with his hypermasculinity, he quickly gets handled by the, black police officers or whatever enforcement arm that you want to use, that you and the cohort of high value men have put in place to ensure not only their safety, but also the safety of their wives and their girlfriends and their children, or just to secure the peace of the environment that they have created. So, with that lack of response being contrasted to the way that, whether right or wrong, Ray Ray and Pookie, when they identify or see a problem, it is handled right here and right now. And that whole attitude of motherfucker, I'll blow your head off. Like, you're going to look like a bitch. Straight up, you're going to look like a bitch. It would be one thing if the high value men control the economic landscape so much, that high value men will be able to handle problems in the black community the same way that the white community does, like what you saw with George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. Oh, well, nothing to see here. I mean, well, the nigger attacked him. I mean, look at the bruises on the back of his head. I mean, he attacked him, right? Nothing to see here, right? See, that's what makes white men look alpha, okay? They commit murder and get away with it. Okay. Where ELs, again, you got the nice suit on, you got the cologne on, oh, I drive a German car that Africans don't manufacture. I'm living in a predominantly white suburb. But at the end of the day, that's not an environment that you control. So you can look the part, but people recognize that you don't have any power. And you can talk about the fact that, oh, we got all the money in the world and we got resources and we got tons of money and everything else like that. But nobody sees you throwing your money around in order to, actuate or facilitate your power and your influence. And so because of that, that's why, all these niggas is gay, or all these niggas is weak, or all these niggas is, powerless, or, there's no sense that, these are the men, of power and in the community that are deserving of the type of respect that street dudes get. Don't get me wrong, it's frustrating because, in one breath, the street dudes, they get all the respect in the world. But then when they go out there and they're committing all these homicides and everything, then the women, will jump up and say, you need to do something about them and you need to take them out. I'm like, I thought they were sexy because, they out there handling business aggressively and with total disregard of, whether they, sacrifice their life or not, just having nigga moments all over the place. Right now is a perfectly good time to throw my life away. You know what I mean? Why? Because a nigga stepped on my ones. You know what I mean? Like, so that's what exists. But, this has always been the problem. I talked about this even when I talk about, just this whole, when people recognize, when you start bragging about how you got that good job and it was so hard for you to get and so, you're literally walking on eggshells with your career that you get from white folks in the white infrastructure and power structure that you don't control. It's just like, you see all these black celebrities, they tap dancing and cooning on television, throwing black people underneath the bus. Yeah, because they get their bread buttered, somewhere else. And so when people see that, people know that, they like, oh, I can walk up and slap this nigga because he ain't gonna do shit. He ain't going to do shit. Not even to mention, even if he was standing there with 5 other high value black men, none of them niggas would do shit either. Versus what happened at the Seaside Lounge down there in Houston, where the brother tried to confront the Ray Rays and Pookies, and all of them, contributed to that brother's death. They don't give a fuck. And that's a hard situation to be in, when I got a good job and a nice suit and, I don't want to soil my suit. And I'm like, man, you ain't going to be able to assert yourself without getting your hands dirty. Plain and simple. If you want to get your hands dirty as least as possible, then you need to control the environment and the landscape from top to bottom. And that's what so-called high value black men don't do. And that's why we don't get that type of respect and why we get hit with all this other, type of labels and shit like that, because we don't. It's a little different when the judge is on your side, the police commissioner's on your side, the law enforcement officers are on you. See, this is what happens when you have a community. When you have a community and people recognize you like you're Sonny in a Bronx Tale and shit. And then you go and you do some shit like now use can't sleep and you lock the door, you know what I'm saying? And you beat up the bikers and you drag them out. I love that scene. He's like, drag them the fuck outside. Drag them the fuck out. I love that scene. You know what I mean? And he's like, look at me. I did this to you. I did this to you. And see, again, Italian neighborhood, you know, the bikers came in there, not of the community, or you could say the white bad boys. They came in there trying to rough some stuff up. And I'm saying it, the Italian guys, you know, whether you want to talk about them doing illegal activity or whatever, I'm saying they still were carrying themselves as upstanding members of the community to the point that they had the community on their side. Now, it might have been somewhat out of fear, but it also might have been somewhat out of, a general, respect. Because the bikers, I mean, they were riding through the neighborhood all loud and everything, disrupting the neighborhood. The other Italian non-mafia members in that neighborhood, they didn't like that shit. But see, Sonny from A Bronx Tale and his gang of people, they handled that situation. Nowhere, name a spot, name something, give me anything where high value black men are handling some shit in that's affecting the black community or black people as a whole. That's visible. If you're saying it's not visible, well, again, whose job is it to make it visible? We're going to say that, well, it's because white media doesn't cover it. Well, why don't you have your own media to promote yourself and cover yourself? You know? So again, I'm just telling you where the deficits lie. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say, but that's pretty much it. So with that said, I will end this video off with A Bronx Tale and, to visibly demonstrate, to be an illustration of essentially what high value black men don't do on, any level. I mean, again, it doesn't even have to be exactly this, but you got to recognize the symbolism of what this scene is actually saying. Anyway, with that said, that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out.
Fellas, you're not dressed properly. He's gonna have to leave.
Properly?
Jimmy!
What's wrong with the way we're dressed?
What's up? This gentleman ain't dressed right. I asked him to leave.
Is there a problem then? The problem is your man here says we're not properly dressed, like our money ain't green. We just want a couple of beers.
A few beers, that's it.
That's it, we'll be on our way. We ain't looking for trouble.
Spoke like a gentleman. Give me the beers. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. No problem. All right.
Got some brews down here, nice cold ones. Get us some nice cold brews. Come on. Two over here, huh? One more over here, one more.
All right, brothers, if I may, a toast to our host.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Look at all these shit all Hey!
Oh, you again, huh?
That wasn't very nice. Now he's got to leave.
I'll tell you when the fuck we leave, all right? Get the fuck away from me.
Go watch the bites, man. Hey, come on. Hey, what? Get out of here. This is still half empty. This shit.
Now you can't leave.
I will never forget the look on their faces. All 8 of them. Their faces dropped. All their courage and strength was drained right from their bodies. They had a reputation for breaking up bars, but they knew that instant they made a fatal mistake. This time they walked into the wrong bar.
Come on, motherfucker! Come on, you scrappy motherfucker!
never love another.
I shall never love another.
And stand by me all the while.
And stand by me all the while.
Happiness with the heartaches.
Take happiness with the heartaches.
And go through life wearing a smile.
Go through life wearing a smile.
Oh, how we will do if we keep the 10 commandments of love.
Step on his fucking head. Come on, get him out of here. Drag him the fuck out. Come on, move. What's my car?
You define since the beginning of time. It has in all.
Look at me. I'm the one who did this to you. Remember me.
Come on, Sonny. Come on, let's go. You just got to get the
That ruined my whole fucking life.
Sonny, come on, let's get the fuck out. Sonny, get out of it. Don't get pissed. Come on.
Leave them there like the bugs that they are. Easy to be shit down here. No, you don't. Well, this is...
That ruined my whole fucking life. Come on, get out of here.
The 10 Commandments of Love.